What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Digimon Beatbreak, episode 26. So in this episode, Harume, the former Tactics member who was on the run, reunites with his old partner Commandramon. Now another, and basically, so Glowing Dawn, helps them reunite. Now, uh, another Digimon comes with the name Elizamon, who calls Harume darling. Basically, they were paired up in the Coliseum by Tactics, and they were able to escape, and Harume promised Elizamon to help her avenge her owner who was killed. And so and yeah, and basically then they Elizamon and Commandramon, they argue. Now Gekamon suggests a cooking duel, which basically he was watching a cooking duel on TV, so he thought it'd be a good idea to do that, have that for the two Digimon to took something for Harume, with the winner basically being his partner. So they do that. Um and basically Commandramon, basically makes one of Harume's favorites, and then Elizabeth Mom makes like a pink curry. So it's like something with like using beets to make it look pink and some pink peppers, whatever. And then yeah, and so when Harume sees Elizamon's dish, he remembers a like he remembers like he and Commander Wrong when they were in Tactics being sent under that target under target, and basically they killed the target, and it's revealed that basically, so the one who killed Lizamon's owner was Harume. Basically it was there, with the mission with him and Commander Mon. So Harume, after realizing that, claims the Lizamon's the winner, and they leave. Commander Mon's sad, and then Commander Mon's sad about, and when he says no, he says he doesn't want to lose Harume, and Lizamon knocks Commander Mon down and say, "Hey, lose regret, hey, lose dig," and Commander Mon sees Lizamon, and he realizes who Lizamon was because he had seen a Digimon, like a silhouette of a Digimon when he and Harume escaped the target's house years ago, and so with Elizabeth matching the silhouette, Commander was like, "Oh," and so Commander One tells Glowing Dawn about what happened and what uh, that. So Harume and Elizabeth are in some abandoned building somewhere where Harume pulls out a knife out and seemingly tries to attack Elizabeth, but basically what he's trying to do is egg Elizabeth on, and so that Elizabeth could kill him to avenge her owner. And so he and Harmony says that he's the one who killed her owner, and he tries to play evil. Glowing Dawn arrives, and Commander Mon takes the attack for from Elizabeth for Harumi, so he's injured, and he recovers. Elizabeth's sad about him, but then she comes back, she forgives Harumi, and basically Kyo says with all that having, Harumi can move on. And so Harumi basically takes care of both Elizabeth and Commandramon, and basically they form like some like basically they start a food business and apparently they get a bunch of money. So yeah, so but you have funny at the end. It ends with Elizamon and Commander arguing over like I guess the amount of curry ware, and it's kind of funny. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Um, yeah, like that was really good. Basically you had also some last minute like I guess lingering threads from the tactic stuff. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Scum and the Brave, episode 13. So in this episode, so you have Sarah and Aki. They're kind of pissed off about Yashiro talking with Yukine, basically giving her a head pat, whatever. And then yeah, so and basically yeah, so what happens here is so they're mad. So Yashiro has his own dojo, I guess, or something. Now apparently there's some and there's a the reason why he didn't use it for the whenever they snuck into the school was well, one, bigger the school was closer to the bar. Two, I guess clean up this one Demon Lord's goons was like going to like basically was a kind of a pain. And then yeah, and so basically so the three girls they're wearing the protective gear while training. Yasha's not because basically he's just good enough to where they can't really touch him. And then yeah, so and then basically then yeah. So now the plan right now is for basically so Yashiro and Yukine were gonna go to Hokkaido to investigate like the half dragon all that. And Sarah and Aki are now going along. They're going along with them. Like and so basically then and yeah, so they go to they basically so Yashiro takes Sarah back to I guess her home, and he looks like he thinks he has a tail, so he like turns around, try to find alternate route to avoid the to avoid the tail, and then Sarah I guess has to text her father Arthur that she doesn't need anyone picking her up or whatever. So then when they're all heading towards Hokkaido, they get there, they're walking the snow, you know they get to this church that says the basically the Braves hot spring, and which is shocking to all of them. Like it's a because it's a church that got turned into a hot springs. So then they sense like Sarah senses like a two like very powerful I guess people inside. So they think there's like so the form thing there's like two dark lords, two demon lords whatever inside. So then one of them comes out, fights with Yashiro. Other one's shooting like a like sniper or whatever. Aki gets sniped in the head, but it's a rubber bullet, and the hood, whatever, the mask comes off of the shore one who's fighting Yashiro. It's revealed to be Malta. So it basically, I guess, it's not an enemy. So basically, it's like, so yeah, so basically, it's basically so it's allies right now. So and Malta welcomes the four of them to the hot springs, and that's how the episode ends. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looks like we're getting some based on the opening and ending theme, and what's going. Probably gonna get some more backstory for some of them. So like, Like for the three girls, more backstory is gonna be explained. Now Yukine, we got backstory regarding like her past, like some of her training, whatever, her military past. Probably there's gonna be some more involved with that. Looks like we might get, and probably some stuff with Aki and Sarah. So that should be interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Demons of the Shadow Realm, episode 2. So in this episode, left and right have been summoned. Yoru's their master. So and the basically, so when Dara asks for left and right to help fight off the soldiers, left and right say that only Yoru can give him orders. Yoru tells him that since they're the guardian deities of the village, he doesn't feel like he has a right to say, like, tell him what to do. But he asked for two requests. One is help the get basically protect the surviving villagers, and to let him deal with Gabby. Outside of that, they could do what they want. And Wright's like, oh, our master is hands off this time. He's like, I like it. So then you have the fighter. So Yoru uses his hunting abilities to fight Gabby. He's able to shoot severely injure her with arrows. And the woman claiming to be Asa appears, so and basically the lady claims to be Asa, and Wright says basically that Yoru and the woman have a very similar like smell, whatever. And Wright confirms that the woman is Asa. And Yoru's asking what's going on, and like Asa says that basically when their parents took her out of the village, the other villagers were like they were concerned. The other villagers were concerned about Yoru running away, so they had to fake Asa, who basically would exist to keep him there, but it's a fake Asa. And you see like with the basically the fake Asa getting up, so healing looks like possibly a Daemon, or it could be some human magical powers, who knows. Like I'm sure there's a reveal somewhere. I haven't read this series, the manga, so I don't know. But dude, it's like insane. And yeah, so and yeah. And of course it leads to some questions about the the granny, like the old lady who's like been taking who was raising Yoru. Like it definitely so basically so Yoru you know leaves so he and Darrow leave there. They meet up with with this one with the so they meet with this one woman in a car. And it's just funny, you have left and right seeing the car. So you have yeah, so you have the character Hannah, uh Dono, who they meet up with, and they basically all leave. And then when they get there, they basically so Dara and Hannah drive Yoru in left and right way. And then there's this other like the Damon that appears. Apparently some big shot, like it's like a very famous Damon. And then yeah, so and basically talk about how I guess the group that came after the village attacked the village was Kage Gamori. Kage Mori was the name of the group. Now there's some questions about them. Like okay, like so at least a lot of questions, and based on how the Kageboris talk, so you have Asa was helping Gabby, so Asa had let Yoru go in order to help Gabby. And the Kageboris, they know who Dara is. Apparently, he's like a demon tamer or something. Apparently, he's very famous. Like I guess they're a famous group. So at least there's some questions about like okay, who's evil? Who's like what's the deal with the village? It's like uh like there is some there are some questions going on here. Like there are some questions. So yeah, and then because well, at least okay, so the parents, they got us out, but why weren't they able to get Yoru out? That's gonna be a question that should be answered. And yeah, and basically, and so there's some questions like what are Yamaha's motives? Like and who's actually like who the frick is actually evil? Are the Kagomori's evil? Are like who's actually good? Who's actually bad? Like is there like so we kind of there's a like we got some killing going on between possibly different good factions. We don't know. Like it should like or at least viewers anime only don't know. I've never seen the you know but yeah, I thought this was a very good episode. The new opening and ending theme, dude. Holy crap, that music's good. Like the opening theme, the ending theme, it's all freaking good. Like holy crap. And then like that is like it is really like dude, they're really good. So yeah, I thought this was a very good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Mao, episode 2. So in this episode, Nanoka follows Mao like into like the Taisho area and she sees like actual people, so she basically travels in time. And so yeah, so basically then Mao's investigating some case regarding a bunch of headless men. And so yeah, no one knows who's killing them and the men are cutting their heads off. And so and Nanika is like basically she's confused as to why she's at the Taisha era, but she's interested in the whole world she's in. And yeah, so then basically yeah, so then what so there's like this man who has like a basically he has a like a bunch of bandages on his face and you have you have this like so yeah. So you have the man and his wife, and then they have like this waitress girl, servant whatever named Sadako. Now Sadako meets with Mao and Donica, and then what's funny is Donica, due to how she's dressed in more, I guess, modern like clothing. Some people, one like thought the wife thinks she's like from the circus, where at least this one lady named Tinko thinks that it's kind of funny. So when they when so Mal and Monica meet with like the Viscount and his wife, and then and later Viscount asks for his wife to bring Sako into the room, and Viscount smells something and asks if Sako's told someone outside about him. Then Mal senses a yokai, and runs after, and then Nautica follows him, and so and Mal fights the Viscount, who basically so it's implied that the Viscount's the guy who cut the head off, but then like and it's revealed that so Mal like he's searching for some cat Bioki who like cursed him and like I guess changed his hair color, and then yeah. And so then Nautica's attacked by the wife who's revealed to be a Spirelate, and the actual one, you know, basically she's like cutting off the heads, uses them as fertilizer or whatever. And then basically you have, Nautica is trying to figure out her Ayakashi powers. And when she fight, and she's about like, and basically the spire threads, the Spirelate are like very tough. Like Mal can't cut them with his sword. Now, one thing about Mal's sword is that it's believed that only he can use it, dude. It's tied to the curse. Now, when Nautica grabs the sword and uses it to defeat the Spire Lady, that leads to some questions. And it's revealed that the Viscount is just a corpse filled with Spire Thread and Spire. So basically, like it's just like it's just a corpse. It's a puppet. And so yeah, the wife like is like in a giant spire form, and like so Nautica defeats the Spire Lady, and yeah, so but it's revealed that when Nautica is able to wield Mouse Sword, it's revealed that whatever turned her to an Ayakashi is similar to what cursed. It's the same thing that cursed Mal. So like that means that Nautica's curse is tied to Mal's. Otherwise, Nautica wouldn't be able to use the sword. And apparently Nautica remembers something during the car accident, where she died, and she remembers some monster with multiple tails. And yeah, so yeah, and that's it for the episode. So yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Obviously, they're doing a lot. Revealing a lot about the nature of the curse. And you have it was kind of funny when Nautica was saying how the Taisho era where she was looks so retro when it's like the entire anime looks pretty retro because like the look of it, like if you look at the character designs, it is a very like 90s early 2000s esque design. Like you could like it is now. Of course, the writer has been in the industry for a while. Of course. I mean, I've never seen any of her stuff. I've never read or watched Inuyasha, Mermaid Saga, Urusei Yatsura. Never really gotten into that. Mostly just due to the fact I don't really like romance stuff. That's really all it is. But yeah. So this is so this and Mal's like the only one I'm aware of that where that's not one. Like it's yeah, but this is a you know like it was a cool episode. I liked it. Liked how obviously like introducing a lot of the like new characters, and you seeing like this case, and like basically everything is you know starting to make sense. It's like okay, this curse, whatever's going to Ayakashi. Now, question becomes: when the curse is removed, is Nanika gonna die? that leads some questions. And so obviously with all the stuff, this could be pretty interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking for the next one. Kusunoki's Garden of Gods, episode 2. So in this episode, so Miyato, basically he basically goes broke buying offerings for Yamagami and the Martins. He ends up winning 100,000 yen in a raffle, and basically it's a god named Reiki the Turtle, who's like one of the four heavenly beasts of luck, moved into the garden after Miyato basically, I guess, unwittingly banished an evil spirit called Harima. That that guy named Harima was chasing. So, and then yeah, so Miyato wins a 1 million yen sweepstake, and so Reiki gives Miyato seeds to plant, and these gods named Fuji and Raiden visit, and they give Miyato wind magic in exchange for some offerings. So Harima exercises does some exorcisms using like a shopping list and pentagram, using like, Miyato's powers. So another exorcist named Seishiro gets jealous, and so the seeds that Reiki gave Miyato, they grow into a camphor tree, and Miyato like climbs Mount Hojo, cleans Yamagami's shrine, which has been neglected, I guess, for a while. Now an evil spirit appears, and Miyato basically writes a list and throws the list using wind magic and exercises the spirit and frees a dragon. The dragon visits the house and it's revealed to be Oreo, the heavenly beast, and Oreo, out of gratitude, grows the camphor tree into a like basically it helps the tree mature. Now Harima can't see all the gods, but so he buys more lists like from Miyato, written on like business cards or whatever, and he throws them like they're like ninja shuriken. And he asks for a square grid in his hand, his family crest instead of a pentagram. So Seishiro, you know, puts a tracking talisman on Miyato. So obviously it looks like he's going to be antagonist, based on their first interaction. So yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. You see all this luck happening to the guy. And you see like more gods coming in. So Miyato has two like gods of like luck or whatever living with him. I mean, that brings some benefits. So yeah, I'm interested in how the rest of this goes. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Beast. So this is a new movie that released this weekend in the United States. So main character is Patton James, played by Daniel McPherson. So he was a MMA fighter. Basically, he famous, I guess, for beating the guy named Xavier Grau in like basically like 6 seconds or whatever. Like knocked him out quick. But then I guess before he could become the world champion, he got a bar fight and spent a few years in prison. And I guess he got into a bunch of fights in prison, and like basically once he got out, he basically was done fighting. So, and basically I guess that made things estranged between him and his trainer Sammy. So, it's been 10 years since then. Um so his brother Malon is fights Xavier, and basically Xavier like knocks him out, but then does an illegal hit, and so obviously there's issues about regards the title and all, like the championship belt and all that. So yeah, so then now Xavier's manager Gabriel Stone offers Pat and James money in order to like because basically Pat James basically gets fired from his fishing job. He and the equipment, the fishing boat sucks because the his boss was a freaking retard, and so basically with like even though Pat had promised his wife who's pregnant with his second kid, um, basically like to not fight, like basically Pat he eventually decided with no money, and when he learns that Malin owes um he owes like his brother Malin owes like this one gangster some money, and yeah, so and like and yeah, so like he owes like some money, so Patton's able to get some money up front, and with the rest being for once the paid in once the fight is happens, and basically the league this is the one is one championship, so that's a you know which is a real league, like started 2011, and so basically so Patton does some training with Sammy's daughter, like Rose, um so basically like and and like a friend and like his former fishing friend, like so one of his coworkers at the fishing boat who basically quit the fishing boat because without Patton it wasn't fun. So you know Patton trains, and Sammy doesn't want to really help train because like basically he was pissed at Patton for not even giving a call as to why he was even not fighting, and so and like Sammy had planned everything for how to get him back in the ring. And they eventually hash things out. Two of them eventually, like they hash things out, talk things out over it, and then so now what happens is now the contract is signed, like it's done, it's in writing. It's supposed to be an official one championship fight, but the league suspends Xavier for the illegal hit. Especially with how like it put like Malon in the hospital, like basically he was told like Malon's told to not fight for 5 months until he's like good. And I guess Malon Pan hadn't talked in 5 years, and like basically basically they hadn't talked in like and like basically Malon's still pissed about it. Now with the fight suspend basically, and Pan doesn't want to do an unsanctioned fight, and since it's breach of contract, um Gabriel and Xavier still, even though it's a breach of with Xavier being suspended, it's technically considered a breach of contract. So he and Gabriel still have to pay Patton the money. So Patton gets the money, and he's okay with not having to fight. Xavier basically calls him a pussy for not going through with the fight. So Patton and Malon talk things out, and Patton asks for Malon to come to his daughter's birthday party, and Malon gives brings a gift, and he tells his brother he's got to go somewhere. Like he says, tells Patton he can't stay, but like he'll see something news, and like Patton's concerned about what's going on. Then when Patton's daughter opens the gift and there's a bunch of money, Patton is like asks Malin's wife, where this money, like what's going on, and it's revealed that Malon's doing an unsanctioned fight against Xavier. Basically, it's inside a loading dock, so you have these tables around, you have all these containers, and you have people finding you to be able to live streaming it. So the fight happens, and basically they put up a good fight, but um, Malon hits his head in the corner of this like box, or whatever. Some idiot, I guess, didn't move it out of the arena. I don't know, make an actual arena. Like that would have been smart. I mean, to actually like at least like form get like something to form like a cage in order to keep like everyone out so people bystanders don't get drawn into it. For and also to help with safety reasons. You know, make it more like an arena, even though it's technically unsanctioned. So there's a lot of blood, and Patton gets there in time, like in time in order to see you know, basically like he and so Malon dies of like a big head injury he gets from that. Like the blood comes out of his head and he like dies. And Xavier basically is interviewed by some podcaster about what happened. Xavier says he has regret, like he's not happy about Malin being dead. He's like it's not like either him or Malon's fault for as I mean, he's Xavier's like that Malon agreed to it, but the one who's really brilliant is Patton. Basically said because Patton was too much of a pussy to go through the fight, so Malon had to fight. And so Patton then he's dealing with it, and then he basically his wife tells him to just to finish it and just go do the fight. So Patton does some training with Rose. He's able to basically get back into good fighting shape. You know, get some encouragement from Sammy, and then so he goes Patton Xavier fight in an official match in Thailand. So and the fight starts. Basically it's definitely not a quick fight like their first encounter, which was Xavier's only loss. So they fight, and basically it's a long fight. Like Patton, like he gets like Xavier like a basically pokes Patton's eye, which is not to my knowledge is not allowed. And during the fight, Patton wins and he's the world champion. And that's really it. And that's how it ends. He on the looks at the camera says to like basically to for his wife watching at home that he's coming home, and basically ends with him as champion. So yeah, I thought this was a good movie. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's decent. Russell Crowe, Dale McPherson are freaking awesome in this. You know, Brent Foster was decent as Xavier Growl. Mojin Aria, basically in the ring, you could see how he like I guess like he would be like in the ring he comes across as like MMA guy, but outside the ring, he does not come across as it. He just comes across as just a freaking drug addict. And like you could tell Malon has issues. Like you could tell the guy had some like mental issues. Like in the scene where like he says, tells Pat he loves him and then like drives off. I was thinking, especially with the whole 5 months base, I was like, is he gonna? I was like, okay, there are two things going. Like, I was expecting the unsanctioned fight, and that like I was honestly I was expecting he was like Malin's either going to kill himself for not being able to fight, or basically like commit some crime or like try to assault Xavier for like put him in the hospital where like like the guy seemed like he was off his like Malin seemed like he was off his rocker. And but it was just he was going through with the fight. You know what I mean? They they if they were people alive, I was like you could have Aldo like I mean the medical waiver. And Xavier said Malin signed the medical waiver, so it's not like no one's legally held legally responsible for that. Which is that's actually something you should that they do. He was smart to bring up. But yeah, there's some logic issues, especially with that fight. I was like no one made it more of an arena, or at least moved anything that was could be potentially lethal out of the way. Like any tables, any boxes, that should have been moved way out of the way. Like don't even let like anyone near anyone or anything near to potentially cause a lethal injury. I mean, it's unsanctioned. There's not as many rules, probably not as many safety precautions. But yeah, and so the acting was good. There, you know, some scenes went on a little too long. I think with I guess the backstory about the prison time and all that. I think more of that could have been shown about him do Patton having him been in prison. Instead, some of the scenes we got, some of the other scenes could have been shorter, but they could show more of I guess hit Patton's downfall that led to him I guess being out of the fighting game. Like they could have shown that, but overall, I thought it was a decent movie. You know, I recommend watching it. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.